Hello everyone and welcome to Lipnox VR. Today I'm doing a first impressions video on the new Hitman 3 Reloaded that just came out today for the MetaQuest headsets. I believe it's only for MetaQuest 3, I would assume so. But first things first, you can immediately see the extremely optimized graphics. And you can also see the pop-in for basically everything. I picked this level as the first level I'd go into because I know this level was really rough on PlayStation VR, and this took it to a new extent for this foresty area, which admittedly really isn't part of the level. I mean, I guess it is if you're like playing other missions, but in this area you just walk through here, kill one guy, and then you're not in the forest anymore. You can see also in the cutscenes that the visual fidelity has taken a hit. There's a cel-shaded aspect around Agent 47, his hands, and other characters in the game, and they will change. They will go from completely no face shells of characters to highly detailed or relatively highly detailed when you get close up to them. So the optimization in this is definitely extremely crazy. I did struggle at first to sort of figure out the controls, but basically on your two hands, you have the ability to sort of put whatever weapon in those areas, and then I guess it puts it in your inventory that way. And then you can open up the inventory and quick slot what you want to be on the left hand and the right hand. Now, with that being said, in the Hitman games, you could really only have one weapon equipped for that like quick pull out kind of thing, but in this there's really like no easy way to quickly switch from something that's on your right hand to the left hand unless you open up the menu. So that could be a little bit frustrating if you're trying to grab a gun that one gun's run out of ammo and the other one hasn't. But when I played this level, I kind of just played it like it was me playing, but trying to be relatively fast but still trying to have fun. And for context of this game, if you don't know Hitman is very much a sandbox type of experience. There's different like pathways to do all the missions. That some of them involve, you know, going full guns a-blazing like I did this playthrough, or others involve sneaking in, being more stealthy. But like every level has just a ton of different ways you can play them. The one with the like castle thing, or not castle, like the British one. It's like you can take over the role of the detective guy, and you almost do like a detective mystery thing, which can solve parts of it to let you be able to kill the people you need to for the mission. So I like Hitman games for that. There's a lot of freedom in that. When we come over here, you can instantly see that he looks okay, but that crowd of people went very quickly from like 10 people to a giant crowd. So it does eventually pop things in. Not as intensely, I don't think, as the console and PC, like regular Hitman 3, but you know what, for the games I've been playing on the headset overall, it really doesn't look as bad once you get into like environments and things and your eyes adjust to it. Now, I will say, while I was recording, the frame rate definitely jumped a bunch, and like I said, like the pop-in is rough, but you have to consider that not every area of this game is going to be outdoors in these big open spaces. But this is the other problem that I have with this release, is it's only Hitman 3's content. So all of the things that existed on Hitman 1, Hitman 2, the DLC levels, you don't get those things here. And essentially, basically what it means is, other than the tutorial level, you basically have 6 levels, and one of those 6 levels is the train level, where there's not really much experimentation. It's possible. So it ultimately, to me, feels like, okay, you have 5 sandbox environments to play around with, and you can probably get an hour or more out of each of those environments. But if they don't add the other content, the other levels from the other games, then I feel like it's a missed opportunity in that regard. But that being said, it is still extremely playable as is. I feel like just wandering around and talking to people and looking around the environment was still cool to do. It still worked okay. Thankfully, it wasn't like fuzzy, low resolution like PlayStation VR or the PC VR one was. Thankfully, the controls are fixed. It's not attached to your head anymore. You can properly use 2 independent hands to do things when you pick up a weapon. You can properly swing it. You can properly punch people. You can start shooting them and then bash them with the gun. So in that regard, I feel like there's a lot of just awesomeness. But it sort of goes to the point that, you know, it's optimized, extremely optimized. And if you're not okay with it looking extremely optimized, you might not like this. It is also 28 gigabytes too, so that's another huge flaw. So right there, you know, the lack of having all the levels, the visuals, and like I've seen enemies like not enemies, like NPCs completely invisibly walk towards me and I shot them and then they appeared. You'll see it later on in this video, but like, you know, like these things aren't affecting the gameplay for me so much. They just are visually comical, and I really think that considering everything, it's a standalone giant Hitman game. Like, I'm sorry, you can say it looks bad, but you can also not say that, oh, there's another game that has this level of complexity in the levels in VR. Like, so many different elements. These levels are gigantic. There's no load times between them. It's just a giant open world to go around and shoot people and do things in. And you know, I think that's definitely something to be said. And like when I got down there to the music area here, I mean, it looks kind of cool, honestly. Like it doesn't look that bad. Like, yes, the characters are definitely like low res, but for a giant crowded music event thing, I mean, if I was playing VR chat, I would be stoked to have this many people in a nightclub dancing and stuff. So I gotta say that, and like I said, I did pick this level on purpose because I know it's one of the ones that pushes the other version the hardest. If you're walking around and, you know, the old London home, there's not going to be 1,000 NPCs everywhere. And the other thing too is like it still is Hitman. You can still like shoot a lot of things and lots of things explode or are affected. You can pick up like items and because it bash people with them. You go and grab the axe, then you can axe them. You can get a wrench and do stuff with that. You can throw the stuff. The shooting has no crosshairs, but it still feels good and accurate to shoot. And honestly, like when I went on, half of this video was me sort of going through, and then eventually I'm like, all right, time to get a gun. And I go guns a-blazing, and you know, it's on easy mode, fair enough. But you know, I was definitely having a good time just going around killing things. And you know, we don't have GTA. We don't have a lot of these like sandbox types of experiences. And yeah, if you want to just play a linear 8-hour storyline game, then maybe this isn't for you. But if you want to just have fun with a game, I think everything in here is still there to have fun. And like, I'm gonna be honest, I play so many VR games that have way worse, just simple cel-shaded graphics, like all the time, and I love the game. So it's like, okay, yes, it doesn't look as good as as you want it to look like it from your memory of playing, you know, the flat screen PS4 game, or even, you know, even the extremely low resolution blurry PSVR game. But it's like, it's still Hitman. It's still Hitman. Like everything is still Hitman. The controls are working good. It fixed the controls, turning and everything. I didn't have to change any settings, and immediately was good. I just hopped into this level and started playing the game, and I'm instantly in the game. I'm instantly having fun. I start shooting people. I start shooting people. It's super fun like that. And I feel like you're gonna get a bunch of negative reviews and people saying, "Oh, another missed opportunity, this and that." But I would rather. I paid my own money for this game. I would rather keep this game than refund it with my own money. And you know, if I feel that way, then I'd like to think that other people would too. You just want a game just to have fun with. It's like $40, and it's a lot of fun for $40. And in terms of a VR game on the MetaQuest headset, even with all of those issues I mentioned, I would still say this is probably the game I would most want to be playing most of the time, because it's just a fun game to jump in. the problem, like I said, the levels. Oh, if they could say, okay, here's more levels for money, like they said, like, the Hitman 2 pack for $20 or whatever, and the Hitman 1 pack for $20. It's like, I feel like I'd be so much easier to get into that, but as it stands now, that isn't all there, and who knows if that stuff will ever come. The Hitman games on PC have got, and on like the main games have gotten massive amounts of updates, but it's not really clear to me that the developer working on this is going to keep updating this after it comes out. We saw with Bulletstorm, it did get a pretty substantial update like 4 months later, but it was 4 months too late. I played this, it's fun. I'm walking around shooting people, like how many games can you do what I'm doing right now? Go into a nightclub and just blast guys. Like, mess with stuff, interact with people. Like when I talked to the guy at the start, go and find his medicine that they lost and then retrieve that. So you can do those things the whole way through. It's like the physics and the weird, awkward things like that. It's like it's not really that much of an issue. And admittedly speaking, it's a Hitman. Hitman is just kind of silly sometimes. That's the name of the game with a free open experience like this. It's just let's be silly. So I know this game's gonna get lots of hate. I can already see on the store getting reviews. I can already see other content creators trashing it. So let that be that for them. But I think that if you don't at least just download it, play it for less than 2 hours, and if you hate it, then just refund it. But like, it'll let you start from any level. You can. It took me 20 minutes to beat this level like this. You could play all 5 of the good levels, like I just did this level, in less than 2 hours and call it a day and say, all right, I played Hitman. And if you suddenly feel the urge, like, wow, I really like that game, I want to go back, don't refund it. I feel like for me, it's a situation where I wouldn't refund it because I'm having fun with it. It's a fun game. But I know it's going to get hate on. I know it's going to be one of these technical reasons make it bad, but then the same people that'll say that'll play a significantly simpler game and say it's fun. So maybe they won't. I don't even know. I have no background to judge that information actually, but I do feel like if I were to go through and look at every game that releases this year for the headset, this is going to be on my list, even with all of its flaws. It's still going to be on the list as like one of my favorite games released this year. Even with only 6 levels, even with invisible enemies and popping like crazy, even with trees that look worse than trees do in Ocarina of Time on the N64. It's still Hitman. It's still fun, and it's still like a giant game. Like I'm sorry, but like when you tell me, oh, we don't have games for the system, it's like I would be happy to get PS4 games ported with this level of like optimization things, just so I got full games. Like if you told me, oh, we can release GTA 5, but it's gonna have these weird pop-in issues, I'd be like, yeah, give me GTA 5 all day. Oh my God. And that's how it is. The Resident Evil 4 or whatever VR port for the MetaQuest was a PS2 game. And it looks perfect because it was designed around being a PS2 game. These textures and visuals were initially designed around the most powerful computer of right now. Like you play this game in 4K on a new computer in like non-VR, it looks absolutely gorgeous. So whatever we're looking at in VR had to be just scaled down massively. And I think like the PC version is like a 90 gigabyte download or something right now, or even more than that. So like 28 gigabytes for this, it makes sense that they had to do the file size. But yeah, I mean I don't know what else to really say about this, because like everything is still it's the full game, but it's just, I mean, it would be cool if they gave you a way to play it in 2D, like a little side mode that you could be like, oh, let's play it in pass-through mode and we can have 2D Hitman. But I don't think there'd be enough controls for that to work. I don't think the buttons have enough things to make that work. Otherwise, it's like You know, maybe the trees could look better. Maybe the pop-in could be fixed a little bit. Maybe they can optimize it in a way that things that are popping in don't need to pop in the way they pop in, with more development time, and it'll be patched. But again, if it wasn't patched, I'd still be having fun with this. This is the third outing of Hitman VR for me. Played it on PSVR when it first came out, and despite the flaws, I loved it. Played it on PC VR. Admittedly, I didn't like the PC VR version as much as the PlayStation VR version, because they took like a game that was meant to be seated with a DualShock and then added VR controls on top of it. It didn't feel right, and it was I don't know. Just things are just so blurry on the on that version, especially on PC VR. It's like way more noticeable even because the higher resolution headset. But and end of the day, this is my third dip on the same game, and do I regret it? Not for 1 second. I'm not going to refund this game. I like this game. This game is fun. This is a fun game to play, and I will agree all day with the graphics. I will agree all day with the pop-in. I will agree all day with wishing there was more, like, all the levels, but I won't agree this is a bad game. I will highly recommend this game if you want a game where you can go into sandbox environments and do stealth, or interact with characters to find side paths, or just run around and shoot people. This game's got all of those things, and, you know, it is what it is. Before I go, I do want to point out one other, I would say, flaw. You can't see Agent 47. Like, it's just his hand. So when you change outfits, it's not really clear which outfit you're even wearing because you can't see yourself. In the other versions, if you look down, you could still see yourself, but in this one, you can't see yourself. And in this same level, he pats me down at one point. I don't know if you noticed that, but he pats me down, and I was just invisible for the pat down. He's patting down invisible arms, which I thought was funny. And the other thing too is that it does show that that I'm offline. So I don't know why it didn't connect to the internet, but if you are not online in this game, it will not give you any of the unlocks. So your progress basically only counts for story progression, which you can pick any level you want anyway, so the story progression doesn't even matter. So make sure when you boot up the game that it is not offline, or your beating the level won't actually matter to unlock new things in the level. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I am out of here. Have a wonderful day, and you know, if you're at all interested in this game, just try, and if you don't like it, refund it.